The only hope is us who are here today, is the Workers' Party, because it was the only party that has dreamed a dream of hope. The only party to speak unequivocally the truth about what the status quo is doing. And we've been punished for it. They've tried to silence us, they've tried to discredit us, they've tried to discredit every single person that's been associated with us. But we're not falling for it, because the more they do, the more they show themselves up. The last 3 months have shown us that we need hope, and that's what the office in Rochdale actually represents. It represents hope. It represents hope for the pensioners who have had their fuel subsidies cut. It represents hope for the working mothers, the parents who have had the 2-child cap restored. It represents hope against all the oppression that the working classes in Great Britain and Britons in general have been subjected to over decades, and now again with Labour. But for us to actually grow this hope and make it into a mission that we can accomplish, we need as many of you as possible, your families, your friends, to join us. So let's start with scanning the QR codes that are dotted around the room. If you're not already a member, become one. And then invite others. Let's grow this movement, because we need that hope. We need Workers' Party offices to be dotted around all across the country, to pop up, and they will. Because it's necessary, because there is no other alternative, and because Britain does deserve better. Without further ado, I want to introduce Imtiaz, without whom neither the office, nor this gathering, nor the team in Rochdale could have done any of this. So please, a round of applause for him.
Firstly, thank you all for being here today. You know, the crowd every time just gets bigger and bigger. Is this sounding all right? Yeah, that's good. Take it off. It's clear that our gatherings are growing, and I'm hoping that the next one we're going to have in the town hall. I usually speak from the heart, but today I have a script, as you can all see. I fear that the anger and the frustration I feel may result in me saying things that are true, but could offend you and prejudice the legal proceedings we are ongoing. Today, as Aroma said, marks a new dawn. It's not just the opening of a new office, but it's the ushering of a brighter, fairer future for all of us. If Birmingham represents our collective strength, then the North definitely is its beating heart. The pain and the anguish that we've witnessed in Palestine for over a year hasn't lessened. It only grows deeper, more unbearable. Every day the suffering is escalating, and the cries for help grow louder. We can't stand by. We must do everything within our power to stop this devastation. And today, the opening of the office is one step closer. As for Paul Moore, who I refer to as Roland Rat, and most of you that are old enough will know who Roland Rat is. And the ones that aren't old enough, I suggest you Google it and you'll know what I mean. He seems to resemble a ghost more than a representative. He's got no office, no residential address. It seems to us that he's worried about holding on to his position. Meanwhile, our council's leadership is in turmoil. The CEO unexpectedly resigned, and it's been a month and no official statement has been given, and he did promise one. We have a council leader that was previously prosecuted for electoral fraud, escaping conviction by just 3 jurors, so 9 of them found him guilty. And the deputy leader, you'll all be pleased to know, who's now under both criminal and civil investigation. To say the Labour Party is in crisis is an understatement. And it's very true, they say. Putting a clown in a palace doesn't make him king, but turns a castle into a circus. Yeah. We're all back in July, we all met here and we rallied for a fight back. George being a boxing man, we've gone straight for the knockout. Yep. We've called on our councillors to do the right thing and resign or face a by-election, but our pleas fell on deaf ears. It's as if we're living in the age of the East India Company, where servitude of these councillors to their masters seems to be the norm. Let me remind the council that we are very different to these cheap-suited councillors. They are not a reflection of us. We are equals, not servants. We are people, not numbers. The intellect, the vision, the moral integrity just alone in this hall far surpasses what sits on the green benches in Parliament, never mind the clowns that sit in this council. We put in Rochdale Council, the councillors and Paul Waugh on notice. Hear our calls, take action, or be prepared for a battle. And I mean that in a political sense. Your deadline is the 1st of December 2024. Starting then, we will mobilise petitions that exceed the numbers who voted these turncoats into power. We will prove beyond doubt that they've lost their mandate and by-election must be called in all at once. Our activists will be present at every gathering they attend, raising awareness outside any rallies they have, and we will be outside all of the mosques every Friday. We'll be inviting these so-called councillors to stand in solidarity of the genocide. Yep. We will do everything within the legal parameters to shame them for all their silence and their inaction. We will protest outside the council offices, and we will unearth every hidden issue in the council and what the councillors have been up to, and we will present hard evidence to the media. We will not refrain from this agitation until we have answers to these following questions. We demand to know why our MP, Roland Rapp, who claims to be a Labour friend of Palestine, has not seconded any motion for a ceasefire or ban on arms sales. We want to know why the councillors in Rochdale continuously block Workers' Party motions seeking a ban on arms sales and an end to the genocide. We want to know why our pensioners are forced to make a stark choice between eating and eating. We want to know where the maternity ward is that George secured, and we were promised, and they said they'd get us a birthing unit. Where is it? We want to know why the council continues to ignore vulnerable families living in substandard conditions. Did the death of a child not teach lessons? We want to know why our kids are being exploited still to this day, and we will not rest until we have these answers. The Rochdale Council of Mosques, I said, you know, a united organisation, and we must rise now and be a rhetoric. Now is the time to take action. The RCM needs to hold a public meeting with the MPs, the councillors, and we, the public, need to have their concerns addressed. The deadline again, RCM, is the 1st of December. Please organise this, or we, the people in this room, will organise our own meeting to demand accountability, not just from the MP and the councillors, but from RCM too. To succeed in this path, we need a strong coalition, not just here, but across the country. And we all know an army marches on its stomach. And I urge everyone in here, join the party. It's just over £1 a week. With this support, we can achieve great things. Imagine the impact of £1 a week. We've already collectively made history as the fastest growing party surging from 0 to 210,000 voters in just 5 months. Just think what we can achieve for the local elections in 2026. In reality, we have got no alternative. The red, blue and yellow have merged into a murky grey mess. There is no left or right to politics anymore. There's just a right and a wrong. We owe this to our forefathers who have always stood for what is right, and to our youth and future generations. Your one pound a week can change the political landscape for the better, both here and abroad, and leave a lasting legacy for the future, a moment in history that we can all be very proud of. I urge you all, especially the people in this room, it's the same faces I see over and over again. Don't just become members, become ambassadors. Become ambassadors for this party. Make a pledge tonight to not only become members, but to invite at least 5 friends, family members or colleagues to join us. You know we will never be owned by designers like Labour or the Conservative, or by bankers and business like the Reform. Each of you have a stake in our party, its finances and its policies. In return, we promise transparency and a willingness to listen, allowing you to shape our direction. Before we move on, I want to just remind you, after George has spoken, there will be food that will be served. But please, all of you, take this opportunity to mingle with our leadership, our councillors, the volunteers, the MP candidates, and members of the party that are here. Now, there's no words I can use to introduce you all, unfortunately. My vocabulary just isn't big enough. It's the person we all come to listen to, it's the person we all look up to, and it's the person that will lead us out of the mess that this country finds itself in. Ladies and gentlemen, the
Thank you, Imtiaz Ahmed, and I echo the words that my sister Aroma used in introducing him. If not for him, none of this would ever have happened. If not for him, we would not have won the by-election on the 29th of February and set the political world alight. We would not have had the name Rochdale echoing across the whole world. I made a compilation of all the people who online used the word Rochdale, from Australia, from the United States, from Africa, from Asia. I've got the word Rochdale spoken in multiple accents, all on tape. We even got the Pope to say the word Rochdale. I asked them to bless the people of Rochdale, and he did by return. We owe India all of the advance that we made and all of the advances that we are going to make. And they are considerable in both cases. The office that I have just opened sits on the borderline between Milkstone and Deeglish Ward and the Central Ward. We owe both of those council seats, and we achieved that from zero. And I promise you this, you will not find anybody, least of all a Labour councillor, who would put money against us capturing the seats that are coming up in 26 in both of those wards and in several others too. We went from 0 to 2 councillors. We're going to go from 2 to at least 6 councillors in 26. 6 in 26 is my minimum expectation. Brother Imtiaz, please make that a reality. And in the following In the following year, when that election comes up again, we'll elect another 6. That means in this electoral cycle, we will be the power in the town council here, about which I need to say a few words. When I came here, I said that one of my purposes was to clean the town hall clock. Some people took me literally and said, we wouldn't like you to climb that high at your age. But I meant it metaphorically, of course. Well, I'm here to tell you that the town hall clock in Rochdale is still not clean, and we will not rest until it is entirely clean. The chief executive of the council has resigned in highly mysterious circumstances. I've no idea why he resigned. Neither does anybody in Rochdale. Neither do the councillors know why he resigned. Just when he should have been at the peak of his powers, with a Labour council, a Labour member of Parliament, and a Labour government in power at Westminster. Suddenly, he resigned without explanation. Well, as it happens, I know the explanation, but I'm not at liberty to say it in public. Full stop. New paragraph. We put a complaint into Greater Manchester Police alleging criminal, civil and electoral breaches of the law, some of which, by the way, name him up top, and he will not now be able to help the police with their inquiries because he's gone. Full stop. New paragraph. We expect Greater Manchester Police's investigation to be a thorough one. Their reputation is on the line. We want every complaint that we make investigated, every CCTV frame that he refused to give us, but has now had to give to the police. We want every one of our allegations thoroughly investigated, that if they are found to be well founded, we demand a parliamentary by-election in the Rochdale constituency. Yes. And if there is a parliamentary by-election in the Rochdale constituency, if you will have me, I will again be the Workers' Party candidate. And all of those who tell me they voted for me but couldn't have because more people have told me than actually did it, will get a second chance to do it for real this time. But whether that happens or whether it doesn't happen, we haven't gone away, you know. My wife is here. My children are here. My children and her children, all the way from London, are here. We're not going anywhere. We're in Rochdale. We will meet Rochdale. And now that I have an office to call my own, our own, I'm even thinking of a camp bed in the back there in which I can pitch. We will always be with you as you have always been with us. Imtiaz, in his opening remarks, talked about the political situation we have here in Rochdale, in this region, in this country, and indeed on a global level. The first thing that needs to be said is this: there is no hiding place. They have a Labour MP, they have a Labour council, they have a Labour government. That means everything that does not get better in Rochdale is their responsibility. Everything that gets worse in Rochdale is to be blamed on them. That's obvious. Can't blame it on me. can't blame it on the Tories. It's to be blamed on them. And Imtiaz adumbrated some of the most obvious ones. The one that hurts me the most is the maternity ward. I secured a promise from the Tory Minister of Health to reopen the maternity hospital here in Rochdale. They said we couldn't have a maternity ward because you need an accident and emergency facility. We said, well, that's easily solved. Let's reopen the A&E as well as the maternity ward. They said, no, you won't have a maternity ward. You'll have a birthing centre. This is New Labour's. They don't like mothers very much. They don't like women very much. They think men can become women just by putting a frock on and a bit of lipstick on. One or two of them are in the House of Commons now, but they didn't like the term maternity ward. They wanted to call it a birthing centre. Okay, let's agree. A birthing centre. Where is it? When are we getting it? Labour controls the NHS budget in Westminster, in Whitehall, in Manchester, and here in Rochdale. As a matter of fact, the departed chief executive of the council was also the chief executive of the NHS. Nice work if you can get it. So they control that. So where is the birthing centre? When will babies be able to be born in Rochdale again? They have to answer that. And if the answer is not yet or never, the voters in Rochdale have to weigh that in the ballot when they go next to the ballot box in this town. I know I've said this to you 100 times before, but what kind of town would it be where nobody could be born in it? Think that through. That means extinction for Rochdale in the long term. You can die in it, but you cannot be born in it, meaning that Rochdale eventually would cease to exist. Who would settle for that? Who in Rochdale wants that as their future? That's the one that matters the most to me, but the others that Imtiaz listed are just as important. Who amongst the old age pensioners who voted on July the 4th knew that they were voting to have the cold weather allowance stolen from their purse, stolen from their pocket? Who knew that? Did Labour tell you in advance, vote for us, we'll make your pensioners colder, we'll make your pensioners choose between heating or eating? Of course they didn't. They lied by omission. They accused the Tories of wanting to do that, though the Tories never did it. And as soon as they were in, they stole the money from 9.4 million old age pensioners in Britain. Thousands of them here in this town of Rochdale. And those pensioners include those that are going to die as a result. You don't have to believe me, you can believe the government themselves. Their own study showed that thousands of pensioners in Britain would die as a result of their withdrawal of the cold weather payments. What kind of Labour is that? What kind of Labour Party does that? Well, the kind of Labour Party that just lifted the cap on bus fares. That's the kind of Labour Party. Who travels on the bus? The rich. Do they travel on the bus? Or is it the poor that get on the bus? Mrs. Thatcher famously told us that any man by the age of 30 who finds himself travelling on a bus can call himself a loser in life. Well, the people in this country who are travelling on our buses are the very people the Labour Party is supposed to defend. What's the meaning of the word Labour if it punishes the working class people who depend on bus travel to get to work, to get to school, to get to college, to get warm? Now that they're going to be colder, they travel around on the bus and stay warm. They're the people that are now going to have to pay 50% more for their bus. What kind of labour in a demographic crisis? What do I mean by demographic crisis? We live in a country where people don't want immigration, but are not having children. Again, do the math. We're on the way to functional extinction if we cannot get our birth rate at least up to 2. It's now 1.6. Therefore, we have a national emergency looming in Britain. We should be encouraging people to have more children. We should use the tax system to make it affordable to people to have more children. What did Labour do? They announced that they would keep the 2-child cap on child benefit. Hard luck if you were the 3rd child or the 4th in a family, in a country that needs more big families. You'll get no help from the state whatsoever. What kind of Labour Party would do that? I'll tell you what kind of Labour Party. A Labour Party that has nailed its colours firmly to the flagpole of the State of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. That's the kind of Labour Party that we are working. And I don't have a say, so I might offend. But I've got to say to Muslim Labour councillors in Rochdale, how can you continue to be a Labour councillor when your government is slaughtering Palestinian children and women every single day? How are you going to answer for that? When you prostrate yourself in prayer, how do you square that? When you get ready to fast in Ramadan, how can you imagine that your fast can be righteous when you're sitting with the title Labour Councillor on your note paper, on your little plastic card? How can you expect on the judgment day to answer that you brandished the title Labour Councillor when your party was a key accomplice? Labour is the key accomplice in the world, even more than Biden. Biden's giving money and guns, yes, but he never ever states that without qualification he stands with Israel. That's Keir Starmer's words. Who stands with anybody without qualification? Even your own wife. Well, you're saying, I stand with my wife, whatever she does? Who does that? But that's what Starmer is doing with Labour and Israel. Without qualification means whatever they do, whatever crime they commit, whoever they kill, whoever their prime minister is. I mean, let's imagine that rocket that went through Netanyahu's bedroom window. Imagine if it had hit him. Who would succeed Netanyahu? Ben Gvir, the killer, the convicted terrorist, Smotrich, who says Istanbul will be in the kingdom of the Jews. How can you say that without the qualification you will support Israel? That means that if one of those is the next prime minister, you're stuck because you said no qualification. That's Labour. I'm not even going to waste words on the Conservative Party. I happen to think the Conservative Party is finished. But reform isn't finished. And I believe that the next 5 to 10 years in British politics will be a fight between us and them. Yes. It'll be the Workers' Party against the reform. Reform will seek to put the blame for everything on you and you. Just because you've got a deeper suntan, more melanin than me. The idea that Britain's problems are caused by the people in this room, who include the hardest working people in the country. Someone said we should rename ourselves to the Hard Workers Party, because virtually every person that's in the Workers' Party works harder at their jobs than most people do. We believe in hard work, and we believe in equality. We will never, ever allow anyone to scapegoat, to make whipping boys of minority communities. God forbid if that ever happens, we will be standing there. We will be standing and ready to shed our blood to defend the ethics and rights of the people in the country. We don't expect that to happen. We believe that we can win the argument that Britain can be better than this. Britain's going down the drain, you know. I mean, the reason why Stark is the most unpopular prime minister in British history. Imagine, he's only been in 5 months. He's already more unpopular than Liz Truss. He is hated by millions of people around the country already. And he's only just getting started. He's hated by the farmers. He's hated by the small businessmen. He's hated by the workers who are getting their pockets picked. He's hated by the millions who stand with Palestine. He's hated by all sides. And his skill set is so limited that he has no means of getting out of the jam that he is in. He says his father was a toolmaker. Well, he didn't make a very sharp tool. He didn't make a very sharp tool. I never saw clumsier, more clunky, more ham-fisted prime minister, and I've seen many. I'm so old. Winston Churchill was the prime minister when I was born. Mr. Churchill famously said, I'm sorry I made such a long speech. I didn't have time to prepare a short one. And I know that I'm all that's standing between you and those chicken drumsticks I can see and smell coming from the back of the room. So I have only a few more things to say. Please regard that office as your office. If you're a Workers' Party member, you'll get a key and you can use it anytime that you need to use it. You can print off your document. You can work on the computer there. We've got CCTV, so no hanky-panky. You can use it to meet people. You can use it to hold meetings. It's your office. I'll be on the television because I'm remotely connected to it. So if you need to speak to me, you can speak to me from that office, on that television. This is the shape of things to come. At the moment, that office is the headquarters of what we call Greater Rochdale, which means essentially Bury, Oldham, Blackburn, and some parts of the city of Manchester. But I believe, and under Imtiaz's leadership, this is going to happen. There'll be offices like that beginning to appear in towns and cities all over this country. There will be by-elections along in a minute. You will have seen the footage of the prominent member of the Labour Friends of Israel beating his own constituent, punching him repeatedly, punching him to the ground and continuing to punch him when he was on the ground. A Labour MP. Well, he isn't now a Labour MP, he's been kicked out of the Labour Party, though they took a little while to get round to that. It's only a matter of time before we have a by-election in this region. And we have a candidate, the Honourable, His Excellency, Peter Ford, the former British Ambassador. We'll have a contest between a Labour candidate whose predecessor clubbed a constituent to the ground and kept on clubbing him, and a respected former British ambassador and deputy leader of the Workers' Party, Peter Ford. We want that. Bring it on. Bring it on. And there'll be council by-elections too. I don't want to name names, but there will be councillors in this region who will be stepping down soon. In Liverpool, for example, we're fighting a by-election there. I don't want to upset anyone, but the sitting Labour councillor has just gone to prison after being found guilty of creating images of children. A Labour councillor, gone to prison for making indecent images of children. We're fighting that by-election. Ian Smith is our candidate, and we intend to win that by-election. There are always by-elections, and we'll always be there to fight. I don't wish death or misfortune on any sitting councillor, well, maybe one or two. As the great Labour politician and Aaron Bevan once said about by-elections, where there's death, there's hope. I don't wish anyone's demise, but I do think these Labour councillors to whom Imtiaz referred to at the beginning should consider their positions before the 1st of December. If you defect now, between the 1st of November and the 1st of December, we will consider bringing you into our ranks. If you do not defect, we will defeat you, and this new office in Rochdale, in Drake Street, will play a decisive role. Thank you very much.
I don't really know what to say because standing up after George's spoken is really difficult. So thank you to the wonderful speakers. Imtiaz did mention before that there's going to be some food and we love everybody to stick around, mingle a little bit, speak to each other, speak to us if you have questions, if you want to join, if you're thinking about joining, speak to us. There's plenty of Workers' Party members here, and of course there's wonderful leadership here to speak to too. So please stick around, eat, drink, enjoy. Thank you.
I'm gonna.